Hey guys, welcome. It's our 2.7 algebra video. Let's get started. We're talking about solving proportions and what we have to do to solve and apply proportions. So let's get to it. Alright, and our first piece right here is, what is a proportion? Well, we're going to go ahead and underline this, but it's a proportion. We're going to write this down in our notes. A proportion is the equation that states that two ratios are equal. Yeah, that's all it basically does. A ratio is a number over another number. For example, we have AB equals CD, where B and D cannot be 0. Can't have 0 in the denominator. Remember that. That would be undefined. And this is a proportion. Okay, you can also read this as A to B or as C to D. Okay, so let's jump into it. Okay, so this is our cross products property, and this is how we actually solve our proportions, is through this thing called cross products. Okay, so the cross products of a proportion are equal, meaning if I multiply A to D and C to B, they're going to be congruent statements, just like here. Okay, and then here's our example: 3 over 4, 9 over 12. 4 times 9 is 36. 3 times 12 is 36. Okay, so this is how we solve our proportions. So let's take an example besides this one and go ahead and do it, but please make sure you write that down. Okay, here's our first example, number 1. Write this down. What is the proportion of 7 over 8 equals m over 12? So what we're going to do is we're going to use cross products. Okay, so you might have seen the teacher do this before. This is kind of like maybe the butterfly method or something like that, but it's essentially just multiplying across. So 7 times 12 equals 8 times m. And again, if you need to use a calculator, 7 times 12, I don't know off the top of my head. Actually, I could probably get pretty close, but that'd be 84 equals 8 multiplied by m. And all you have to do is divide by 8 to both sides, and we will get our solution of 10.5. So again, to solve a proportion, we just use cross products. And again, a proportion is two ratios set equal to each other. Okay? Let's look at another one. Okay, in this example, example 2, we're up the stakes. Not just a variable up there, now it's a variable minus something. We still do cross products, so we're still going to multiply these together, and we're still going to multiply these together. But when we do it, we're going to have to use some distributive properties. So it's going to be 4 multiplied, and you're going to want to throw that b minus 8 in parentheses. Okay? And that's going to be equal to 5 times, again, we're going to put b plus 3 in the parentheses. And the reason why we do this is because the 5 needs to multiply both pieces, so we're going to use distributive property to multiply in, and same over here. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Whack a whack a whack a whack. Whack. 4 times b is 4b. 4 times 8 is going to give me a negative 32. I'm just going to double check that as I write it incorrectly. Look at that. How embarrassing of me. Yep, 32. Okay, is it okay to check your answer? Yes. In fact, we want to. We want to make sure we check our answer. Okay? Equals 5 times b is 5b. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay? Move the smaller variable. Notice we got to combine our like terms, but the 4b and the 5b, they're on opposite sides of the equation, so I need to move them by subtracting or adding them. And in this situation, 4b is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides. Goodbye. Subtract. And this is not going to cancel out, it's just going to leave me with b plus 15 equals a negative 32. And to get rid of the 15, I just subtract it. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. Okay, now both of these are negative, so they're technically going to add, and we're going to get b equals, that's going to become a negative 47. And there is our final answer. Ding, 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 ding. Alright, let's keep moving. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it. Okay, last problem, and this is going to be a word problem. So I believe we're on problem 3. Yeah. A portable music player has 2 gigabytes of storage and can hold 500 songs. Wow. This must be really nice. Isn't 2 gigs like super small amount now? A similar but larger media player has 80 gigabytes of storage. How many songs can the larger media player hold? Alright, we're talking about 2 different media players, okay? So we're talking about like an iPod or something like that. But we have 2 of them, okay? So we have a small media player and we have a larger media player. And there's 2 relationships. There's a relationship between the gigabyte and the songs, and then there's a relationship between the smaller and the larger. So we already wrote the smaller and larger. Now we got to write the relationship between this. What we want to do is we want to come up with a proportion. So what over what? What over what? Now it doesn't really matter as long as we stay consistent. Okay, so I'm going to put gigabytes, and I think a lot of people usually just use G and a B, but that's just me. I'm going to move my face over here. Okay, and then how many songs it holds. Or, ooh, what about this? Instead of an S, why don't we do... I got a great idea. Here we go. Check this out. Huh? Pretty nifty, right? And that's how many songs it would hold. Okay, so the smaller unit has 2 gigs and it holds 500 songs. The larger holds 80 gigs and it holds I don't know how many songs. Now they should be proportionate, okay? The amount of gigabytes and number of songs is going to be proportionate to the smaller and the larger. So we should be able to set this up. So the big idea here is trying to set up that proportion, and I like to use my different headings to help me do that. Now we're going to cross multiply, and so we're going to get 2x equals 80, move my face again, gosh, I'm always in the way, times 500. Okay, so we're going to have to multiply, that's a big number there. 40,000, holy cow. And then divide by 2. And we're going to get x equals 20,000 songs. That's a lot of music. Yes, that is. Okay? But I'm pretty sure most people just stream music anyways now, so whatever. Anyways. Okay? So that's how we can take a word problem and turn it into a proportion so that we can then solve. Alright? Alright guys, you've been great today. We'll see you later.